Good morning, everyone! Hello, happy Thursday. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Let's get you up to speed with news that you can use right now.
Hello there, beautiful people. I'm Anne Asis-Carilo. It's Thursday. Let's make it unforgettable with a whole lot of energy, good vibes, and inspiration.
And I'm Monique Tuzon. Join us in the next hour for stories that are mo fun and conversations that matter. Happy Turkey Day, everybody. It's Thanksgiving, but we don't have a feast, so I'm so sad.
But it's still tomorrow in the U.S.,
Yeah, because
right?
we're in the future here in the Philippines.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. You know, Turkey Day, I've never celebrated Thanksgiving.
Really?
Well, because...
Well, I guess it's not a Filipino
Hindi naman ako
thing.
Amerikano eh. So,
But
I mean,
Filipinos
Yeah, but some
celebrate.
Do they really?
Yes,
It's
yes.
getting more
Yeah.
prominent now. Like I've been seeing on social media, people are having Thanksgiving, and I said, really? So yeah.
And you
they
can
celebrate
actually
it.
order turkey here. So some people
No,
really
yeah,
celebrate
you can
that.
have turkey
Yeah.
here. I don't think it's as popular as other birds
No.
in terms of poultry, in terms of what to
Chicken's
eat.
still better.
Yes. I mean, like, you know, I've seen people eat ostrich eggs. I mean, that's
Yeah.
always
Ostrich
something.
I have
Yeah.
seen that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have not
they're
tried
huge.
yet. They're ginormous.
Yeah,
They're like a whole
gigantic.
pot.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
like,
cool.
it's just huge. I don't know how it tastes, but I would say that to those celebrating Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Thanksgiving. And Mo, I don't know if you're gonna have turkey anytime soon.
I won't.
She
I'm
doesn't eat
sad.
turkey. She just eats
I
the
don't
sides.
eat
yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
just
you're
the
not there
sides.
for the
Give me
birds.
the green
The
bean
sides.
casserole, mac and cheese, sweet potato casserole, pecan pie.
Okay.
Something that
That's
she
the
can
best.
actually have any time of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
But for some reason, on Thanksgiving, they taste extra special.
I don't know.
According
It's
to you.
so good. I don't know why. Everybody makes it in my family. It's like a potluck. So normally, whoever makes it brings it like every year, and there's always a different twist to it. It's so good. And I'm sad. My family actually called me yesterday. Everybody's flying in because we normally host Thanksgiving at
Yeah.
our house. They're like, "Where are you?" I said,
Yeah.
"I'm halfway across the world."
Well,
Just go Zoom celebration.
You pardon too many turkeys, and therefore,
pardoned
you're
this year.
also exempted from it.
Very true.
Yeah,
I'm
but
marked safe.
let's see though if turkeys can get to one destination or the other today here.
Let's see. Let's check the roads. This rush hour, guys. I know, right?
Traveling turkey.
Let's check out the situation along EDSA White Plains. On the left side of your screens, it's the southbound lane going to Shaw Boulevard. On the right side of your screens are vehicles headed to Cubao. Still a good time to drive at this time. Now here is a look at the situation along the northbound lane of EDSA Guadalupe. Left side are the vehicles headed to Shaw Boulevard. And on the right side of your screens are vehicles going to Makati. It's still early, so traffic is still a breeze at this time. Now, a reminder to motorists, the expanded vehicle number coding scheme is in place. Since it's a Thursday, vehicles with license plates ending in 7 and 8 should be off the road now until 10 a.m. and again later from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
From the roads to the skies, because we really don't know if turkeys can fly, we can expect generally good weather with chances of rain later on today. Pagasa says the country remains relatively storm-free. The eastern section of northern Luzon should experience a bit of hot and cold conditions today. With the shear line affecting the region, the shear line refers to the meeting of the cold amihan winds and warm winds from the Pacific Ocean. So it's going to be rainy in parts of Mindanao due to the intertropical convergence zone. Metro Manila and the rest of the country, though, can expect good weather for today. But remember, stay hydrated and be ready for potentially humid conditions, especially at noon. Tune in to Weather HQ later on today at 9 a.m., where we bring you updates whatever the weather, only here on BNC, the Billionaire News Channel.
Now, the saga continues between the president and the vice president. In a press conference Wednesday, VP Sara Duterte decries, quote-unquote, harassment from President Bongbong Marcos. She accuses the Marcos camp of seeking her removal from position so House Speaker Martin Romualdez could take over. The VP also cries foul that the anti-terror law, which is approved by her father, is being used against her.
We have reached the point of no return, and it is clear, ma'am, na parang they are really going after me. At gusto talaga nila akong tanggalin sa posisyon. And totoo talaga yung mga sinasabi ko na threats sa akin.
Meanwhile, Duterte also requested to reschedule her summon at the National Bureau of Investigation to explain her death threats to the first couple and Romualdez. She says it's her priority to be with her personnel during the House hearing on Friday.
And now the plot thickens. Quezon City Police District is looking to file charges against VP Sara. That's besides the cases from NBI with regard to VP's death threats against PBBM, the First Lady, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. VP Sara now faces charges of direct assault, disobedience, and grave coercion. This is in relation to the incidents that took place on Saturday in transferring OVP Chief of Staff Attorney Zuleika Lopez to the hospital. QCPD believes they have a strong case. Now, more from authorities. The Philippine National Police says supporters who flocked to EDSA Shrine last night were paid. PNP-PIO Chief Jean Fajardo showed the press a video of a supposed list of paid supporters. Hundreds of individuals came to the prayer rally.
There are some videos na lumalabas po, if I may share again, na yung iba po doon, allegedly, again, let me reiterate, allegedly, were transported from their barangays papunta po doon sa lugar. Pinangakuan daw po na babayaran po sila at pakakainin po. In fact, yung iba po sa kanila ay nagreklamo dahil allegedly ang pangako sa kanila ay bibigyan sila ng 500 for 3 days pero ang ibinigay lang ay 200 po.
Meanwhile, AP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr. says he will not be taking charge of the Vice President Duterte's security group. Bronner clarifies her security personnel will only be replaced amid their involvement in a probe launched by the PNP. The AP Chief of Staff explains the Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group is under the Presidential Security Command. The PSC is made up of members from the Armed Forces, the Police, and the Coast Guard. Bronner adds they are also monitoring VP Sara's security since her death could also spark, quote, chaos.
The automated counting machines are now complete ahead of the 2025 elections. COMELEC Chairman George Garcia says all 110,000 machines from Miru Systems have been delivered, while over 2,000 units have already been distributed across the country for voters' education.
December 2 to January 30, pupunta yung mga local COMELEC natin sa mga kababayan natin upang ma-demo, paggamit sa kanila at sila mismo ma-experience yung ating mga makina at malaman nila kung paano ito ginagamit. So ganun po kahaba yung voters education program na isasakatuparan ng Commission on Elections.
In news from around the world, Israel sets a curfew in South Lebanon following a ceasefire with the armed group Hezbollah. Reuters reports the Israeli army's Arabic spokesperson cautioned southern Lebanon residents against moving south of the Litani River for a certain period of time. The Israeli army explains their forces are still present in the area. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had warned they are ready to respond should there be violations under the agreement. The ceasefire is seen to end a conflict across the Israeli-Lebanese border that has killed thousands of people. The United States and France helped broker the ceasefire deal. Israel, though, is still fighting another nemesis, the Palestinian militant group Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
Moving on to sports, Converge Fiber Xers and guest team Eastern starting things the right way in the PBA Commissioner's Cup. The guest team from Hong Kong beat the Phoenix Fieldmasters in their conference opener Wednesday at the Phil Sports Arena 102-87. Former PBA import Cameron Clark led Eastern with 25 points and 11 rebounds, plus 2 steals and a pair of blocks. In the first game, the rejigged Converge Fiber Xers crushed the Terifir Majid by 29 points, 116-87. Former NBA player Chick Diallo put up a strong connection for Converge with 25 points and 16 rebounds. Over in college hoops, the Adams and Soaring Falcons are headed to the Final Four in UAAP Season 87 when they beat the UE Red Warriors Wednesday at the Mall of Asia Arena 68-55.
Now, Swifties rejoice. Taylor Swift made it to the greatest pop stars of the 21st century. The pop star ranked second, ahead of pop star royalties Rihanna, Drake, and Lady Gaga. According to Billboard magazine, this ranking is based on influence of pop artists in the past 25 years. Next week, Billboard will unveil who the top of the list will be. Many guesses that it will be none other than Queen Bee, Beyonce herself.
Now here's some Anne Kabogable news. Anne Curtis just became the first ever Filipino actress and host to have her own wax figure at Madame Tussauds. Sharing the spotlight with Hollywood legends like Nicole Kidman, Brad Pitt, and Angelina Jolie, the statue is now displayed in a museum in Hong Kong. Anne earlier teased the unveiling event on Instagram, saying, "I can't believe it." So that means it's unbelievable.
I knew that news was gonna be on
For me, yes. It's got my name written on it, literally.
Anne Kabogable. I love it.
Anne Kabogable.
Oh, but Anne Curtis is so pretty. Even her
Every
wax.
time I do my Anne puns, Paul's like,
And then I'm dying on the side.
Well, you know the both of you. Babawi ako. Babawi talaga ako.
No, I mean,
Yes.
he means
Oh.
that
No,
he really will later
see,
on.
But wait, first of all, take a look at that.
No, it looks legit.
legit
Yeah, it
like
does.
her.
I couldn't even tell which one.
And
was the
say,
real
and,
Grabe.
you know, and even the outfit is almost the same, save for the color. It's perfect.
She's so pretty.
But
I wanna
Lea
look
Salonga
like
also
Anne Curtis.
has. Lea Salonga,
and hers
right?
looks legit
Yes.
too. Honestly, they do such a great job.
Again,
Hopefully
Madame
one day.
Tussauds, they're known for
Yeah,
that.
I know.
And
Yes.
it's just, again, incredible looking, fantastic.
Oh, look at
and
that.
congratulations to Anne
Yes.
Curtis for that achievement, of course, for that recognition. And grabe, I'm sure all our kababayans would love to go to Madame Tussauds just to
How do
check
we
it
get
out.
one? How do we get a
Yeah.
wax figure? I want one too.
Maybe
You
in the
gotta be
future.
a certain level of
Like, then I
celebrity.
want one too.
Let's claim
I
it.
want a twin.
Let's manifest it that maybe sometime in the future we'll have our own wax figure as well.
Yes. Nothing manifests.
Now back in the realm of reality, we've got more stories for you here on the show because we'll examine the initial success of Gilas Pilipinas. In the second window of the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, guest basketball analyst Jared Dillinger will join us for a discussion live after the break. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. We now focus on the vital role of medical oncologists in the fight against cancer. These specialized doctors are at the forefront of patient care, using cutting-edge treatments like chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and targeted therapies to battle cancer from within. They don't just treat the disease, they guide patients through every step of their journey, coordinating with a team of experts to create personalized care plans. From diagnosing to managing side effects, medical oncologists are dedicated to offering hope and healing in some of the most challenging moments of life. Their expertise is changing the landscape of cancer care, one treatment at a time. To tell us more, we have oncologist Dr. Denky Dela Rosa via Zoom. It's a beautiful day, Doc Denky. Good morning.
Good morning and beautiful day to everybody.
You know what, Doc? I missed you so much. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yes, it's been a while.
I know. It's great to have you on the show. Doc, we're talking about a serious topic today. Can you walk us through the steps involved in diagnosing cancer and how you determine the most appropriate treatment plan for a patient?
Okay, so in cancer, we have this dictum wherein no meet, no treat. So it means that for almost all cancer patients, except liver cancer, a biopsy is always very essential. That's the explanation with what I said, that no meet, no treat, because almost all kinds of cancer, we need to have a biopsy. And a biopsy means we take a sample of the tumor, send it to the laboratory. It's going to be evaluated under the microscope. And then the pathologist will tell us what type of cancer the patient is. And once we have already confirmed the diagnosis of cancer, the next stage is to identify the extent of the cancer, and that is what we do with staging. That is when we find out whether the patient has stage 1 to 4 cancer. And after we have diagnosed the cancer, determine the stage, and also, of course, we need to identify what are the status of the patient's liver, kidneys, and all the different organs, because those are all very important. Age alone is not a determining factor of whether or not a patient can undergo treatment, but more of the functional status, meaning how strong the patient is, how strong the other organs are before we institute the treatment. And it's good that in the introduction you mentioned about immunotherapy and also targeted therapy, because there is this misconception among patients that chemotherapy is all there is for cancer management. Maybe that was true about 10, 20 years ago, but nowadays we have all other new medicines, and a lot more medicines are going to come into the picture in the management of cancer.
Doc, you mentioned biopsy, getting a biopsy to determine what kind of cancer you have, and then to determine also what stage the patient is already in. But sometimes we go to the doctor and we find out that it's already too late. We've jumped stages already from 1 to minsan stage 3 na. Is there a way for us to, is there a test that's available to check if you do have cancer? Kasi minsan, di ba, when we don't feel anything, we don't feel pain, we don't go to the doctor. Or if we don't feel mass somewhere in our body, we don't go to the doctor. Meron bang test that we can take beforehand to check, especially if there are cancer patients in the family?
Yes, that's right. Unfortunately, because the Philippines healthcare system is mostly out of pocket, a lot of patients tend to postpone even if they already have some symptoms. They tend to postpone going to the doctor, hoping that what they're going through is something that will go away. And it's actually very common practice among Filipinos to go to the drugstore and just tell the pharmacist, like, inuubo ako, anong pwede mong ibigay? So here is where cancer screening comes in. But not all cancers are actually amenable for screening. When we talk about screening, it means that we do the test even if there are no symptoms, there are no palpable mass or nodules. But the only cancers that are amenable to screening are breast cancer, cervical, lung cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate cancer. So these are the 5 different types of cancer wherein screening has already been proven to have a significant benefit in patient survival.
We also talk about genetic testing from time to time kasi minsan talaga we say it runs in the family, the cancer. How is that integrated into the approach that you have when we are diagnosing cancer and, of course, looking at treatment as well?
Yes. Before we don't have geneticists in the Philippines, but nowadays there are already doctors who have been trained in cancer genetics. However, we don't just do genetic screening on everybody. Even cancer screening, not everybody is going to be a candidate for that. We have certain parameters that we follow in applying who to test for, who to screen for cancer. And similarly, cancer genetic testing, there are also a lot of parameters that have to be followed. For example, the most important here will be the patient's family history. So we look at who among the relatives and what will be the degree of association with the patient at hand the cancer patient has been. So if, for example, who are the very good candidates for cancer screening? Those patients who have been diagnosed at a very early age. Because a lot of times cancer is related to lifestyle. And patients who are diagnosed very, very young, these are not necessarily, or probably, I'm sure that lifestyle has a role, but for patients who are very young, this is where genetics plays a bigger role than lifestyle.
Now, Doc, you mentioned that cancer is mostly a lifestyle thing. So both of my grandparents, both my granddads, they actually passed away from pancreatic cancer, both super healthy, they don't smoke. So when that occurs, would you say that's genetics, or is that, I mean, I don't think that's lifestyle, because like I said, they were both super healthy. So what would you say would the cause be for that?
Yes, cancer is always a multifactorial disease. It is not only caused by lifestyle per se, but it's actually a combination of genetics, environment. Because you have people who have been smoking almost all their lives, but they don't develop cancer. Or maybe they die earlier than developing cancer. So, well, of course, we advocate for healthy lifestyle. But what I have seen in the clinics is that some patients can really be affected by cancer, even if they've been living, a very healthy life. So it's a mix of genetics, lifestyle, and I would say a lot of luck.
Oh my gosh.
Luck obviously is it's hard to really rely on as if you ask anyone, especially with a diagnosis. But just out of curiosity, because there are cases wherein, for example, treatment doesn't work, but are we seeing a higher rate of success with regard to the increased types of treatment that we now have available to us? As you mentioned, in the past it was just chemotherapy, but of course right now we're seeing targeted versions of it, and even some different types of medicine and care. Is the success rate rising? And at the same time, how do you deal when a certain treatment is not working, when a cancer is involved, and of course when it recurs?
Yes. The chance of being cured from cancer increases the lower the stage is. Meaning the smaller the volume of cancer, the smaller the size of the cancer, and the less extensive the cancer is in the body, increases the chances of being cured. Even if I have mentioned that we have these newer medicines available, not only chemotherapy, a lot of the patients who are stage 4 still remain uncurable.
Doc, what role does palliative care play in your treatment plans, especially for patients with advanced cancer?
Yes, firstly, before I answer that, I would like to say that you really did very good research on the questions that you are asking. For example, before introducing me, you were telling the audience that the medical oncologist looks at the patient in a more holistic way. That's actually so thank you very much for your research team for coming up with all these very nice questions. So going back to the question about palliative care, palliative care is actually a specialty in medicine. But of course, an oncologist, being doctors who care for cancer patients, palliative care is part of our curriculum. So palliative care is actually one of the areas that I, as an oncologist, also focus. And an example of palliative care would be addressing the patient's pain. Because sadly, about 70% or more of cancer patients throughout their journey can experience some sort of pain, especially in the advanced stages of the disease. Palliative care does not only belong for patients who have very, very advanced cancer. Palliative care can actually be implemented even in the very early stages of cancer. I would also like to state that because since we're discussing cancer and palliative care, people might think that palliative care is only for cancer patients, but palliative care is a specialty of medicine that relieves discomfort. So even patients who have heart disease, kidney disease, any type of medical condition that needs the care of relieving discomfort and taking care of the psycho-spiritual aspect of the patient can be referred to palliative care. Here in our country, again, sadly, most of the palliative care specialists are in the urban area. So really have difficulty for my patients who come from far away provinces looking for palliative care doctors. So, well, at least after the pandemic, people have somehow gotten used to using Zoom, Messenger, or Viber for consultation. So at least we are able to somehow reach them. But the problem is when the patient would need morphine for pain control. During the pandemic, we were allowed to provide the prescriptions because morphine is a regulated drug. It is under the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency. So not all doctors can actually prescribe this medicine. So during the pandemic, it was relatively easy because we can just send the prescription through Viber or Messenger. But now that the pandemic has already, it's no longer pandemic period, we are now again required to give the special prescription. And the drugstore will not dispense the medicine unless the patient has that special prescription. So it becomes very difficult for patients who are very, very far away.
Doc Denky, we hate to cut you off there, but then we're running out of time. Of course, a lot of people, I'm sure, would want to know more about this. We could actually go on a long podcast about this topic. But Doc Denky, where can patients or prospective patients reach you and, of course, learn more about this?
I have clinics in St. Luke's Medical Center in Global City and UERM Hospital. You can actually just easily search my name. I have TikTok, I have Facebook. You can just write the name that you see on the screen, and I'm sure I'm going to come up in Google.
Thank you so much, Doc Denky. It was such an
Anne.
interesting conversation with you. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doc. You know, content creator yung si Doc, and I love her content. She actually teaches a lot about cancer prevention, the right food to eat.
Yeah, so that's why you can check her out on social medias
Yes.
that she mentioned a while ago. Anyway, don't go anywhere. Our Gilas Pilipinas discussion with guest analyst Jared Dillinger is up next. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. And welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Now, if you watch the show, you always know that there are terrible, terrible puns that happen because of my partners, Mo and Anne.
Terrible.
So we're
They're not
changing,
terrible.
I'm changing the narrative here by going all the way, and we're doing that with a Gilas Pilipinas story because Gilas Pilipinas has officially qualified for the FIBA Asia Cup next year in Saudi Arabia. The men's national basketball team completed a flawless run here at home in the second window and the most notable victory, defeating the 22nd ranked New Zealand. Now, what can we take away from the latest Gilas campaign? Let's take a look at today's PowerPoint. That's right. We're going all the way. May graphic nga tayo eh, all right? So let's go and take a look at the PowerPoint number
He's
one.
been waiting for
We've
this.
been waiting for this, okay?
Professor Pao.
Look at that. Okay, so syempre nung gumanon ako, nawala yung graphic. Pero ito, Coach Tim's system is a great fit for our big men, Junmar Fajardo and Kai Soto. Of course, Coach Tim Cone is known as a big man coach. Therefore, really, those bigger players that we have will really thrive in the system. It is a bit unlike the previous Gilas systems, guard-heavy. Coach Yengyao, Coach Tot Reyes all ran very guard-heavy systems. This is a bit different, and Kai Soto and Junmar Fajardo are really benefiting from that. Now, PowerPoint number 2, we still lack shooters, in my opinion. I had a conversation with Gary David, a former premier shooter ng Gilas Pilipinas, and that type of player that we used to have with Gary David, Larry Fonacher, Marshall Lassiter, we don't have those types of pure shooters in this particular lineup. That doesn't necessarily mean our players couldn't shoot. It's just that if you're taking a look at the floor spacers that we used to have, it has been a bit different. Maybe that might be a part of the lineup that we could still improve on. Could be, might not need it as much, but then you can never go wrong with having more shooters. PowerPoint number 3. This isn't even the best team that we could have. We did beat New Zealand, but then we're still lacking key pieces. AJ Edu, still not in the team due to injury. Jamie Malonzo, also not in the team due to injury. What if they were there? We would be an even bigger and longer team. Which brings me to point number 4. Gilas is big at every position. At the point guard, we have a 6'1" point guard at the smallest, and at the largest, we can have a 6'4" point guard in Dwight Ramos. Those guys are huge. You can have Japet at the 4, Justin Brownlee at the 3. You could have Kai Soto at the 5, maybe Junmar at the 4. And at the number 2 position, you could have a lot of guys, Calvin Oftana, so on and so forth. They're just long. You could have a team, you could have a lineup where the smallest guy is 6'4". And that is a big difference. That is because we can now match up with the teams around the world that are traditionally larger than us. Now, those are my points from the latest campaign. And to judge me on all of that, we have a guest with us here, Jared Dillinger, joining us via Zoom. Jared, thank you very much for coming on.
What's up, big dog, Paolo? Good to hear from you, my man. I love that PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm glad you love it.
Who thought
I don't
of
know
that?
if we love
Someone
it.
needs to rate.
We gotta patent this. We gotta trademark this. But JD, first off, you see all these points here. Are there any ones that you disagree with? Because I have a feeling that some people would look at the shooter's point here and have maybe a qualm or two about it.
Oh man, yeah. Let's play devil's advocate here and try to annihilate your PowerPoint presentation.
Well, you are the daredevil.
To be honest, to be fair, you have a very great PowerPoint, good presentation. I think all of the points that you made are very valid. We can discuss a little bit about shooters, and that can be discussed through perhaps Coach Cohn's system on the way he runs our offense. Ideally, he had to change obviously during the different style of play, but ideally he's not a big time 3-point shooting coach. The triangle in itself, he needs to pick players who have the ability to play in tight spaces. You have to have a solid mid-range or some type of midi, whether that's a floater or a 1-2 dribble pull-up or fadeaways, aka JB. But playing in small spaces, I think, and having solid shooters like a Dwight Ramos and a JB would be more than enough to space the floor based on how we play our offense.
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaways that I can add to what your PowerPoint was suggesting of all the good things, because I agree with pretty much all of them. And I think, for one, getting high character players is very important under the Coach Cohn's philosophies. He's a big chemistry guy, so he needs high character guys, where kind of alludes to my second point that he needs players playing for each other, not with each other. That system is very complex, so if you don't have one person on the same page with the other 4, the whole thing's gonna look like a mess.
Yeah.
So having everyone buy in, which is extremely important with any system, obviously, but that's still a tough task to do, to get players from top to bottom all buy in. On top of that, they play for each other, not with each other, and then you get a good mixture of high character players, and then, hey, you're getting the result.
JD, we're playing the role of educators right now because Mo and Anne here are just basically taking down notes. But of course, we're
literally.
A lot of people are wondering. So again, they're seeing the resurgence of Kai and Junmar Fajardo on the international stage, and a lot of people are saying that, oh, Coach Tim is getting the best out of him. When I mentioned a lot of times that Coach Tim is a big man coach. Why is it that guys like Kai and Junmar would thrive under Coach Tim Cohn?
Well, I think what we need to look at is the way that, again, the system that he created for the triangle, a lot of it gets started playing through our big men. And the biggest key factor on having big men play in his system is that they have to know how to pass the ball. And if you notice, every big perennial player that Coach Cohn gets with it, whether it's on his club team or currently now on the national team, they can all pass. Sonny Thoss, Christian Stan Hardinger, Joe DeVance, Junmar Fajardo, Kai Soto, all these guys they can pass. And that's what opens everything up for the guards, for themselves, because now they're a threat and they can't, teams can't throw too many different types of looks on them with doubles or triple teams because they can pass the rock. So I think that is one of the biggest glaring factors, is that big men, you have to know how to pass. And in this case, we have two generational type players. One in his later years, Kai in the beginning of his years, but they're both generational players. So it makes the offense look amazing when those guys are playing like that.
Jared, how would you describe the roster, Gilas' roster? What do you think are the team's best attributes and weak points, if any?
Sure. I think one thing that coach really thrives to look for are two-way players. We have a bunch of two-way players. A bunch. Usually it was just designated, where we'd have one or two guys that can play both sides of the ball equally and as effectively. This team, Scotty, Newsom, I know Malonzo's not playing. JB, obviously, Aftan. I mean, I don't want to just go down the list, but you guys can clearly understand that. Now, I think missing pieces, it's hard to say because we're on a roll. And there's always a good saying, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. And you keep that same type of template because it's working. So it's really hard to try to figure something where we can even level up and be better. I mean, that's obviously always the case because we're not the #1 team in the world yet.
Oh, wow.
So we can improve. So I do agree with Pao. We do, I would say, at least one. Like, lights out, shooter, that's our guy. Like, maybe Marcio, whoever it may be. I think it should be Marcio. But it's hard to say. We're big, we're fast, we got two-way players, we got camaraderie, chemistry, the offense. I'm with you, pal. Maybe we just need one shooter.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. But, we're looking at the achievements here of Coach Tim Cone throughout his very short stint here so far for Gilas Pilipinas. Obviously, getting that Asian gold in China, beating Latvia in the Olympic qualifiers, being a game away or a game or two away from the Paris Olympics. A lot of people are looking at what makes his system effective. What makes Tim Cone basically effective with this group? Because I remember he was in charge of the national team back in the Centennial team when they finished with a bronze in the Asian Games. But what is different this time around in this stint of Coach Tim Cone?
Yeah. Well, I would say I think what really helped his case to bring his philosophy to the national team was him winning that gold. And I think it was such an easier way to get these guys to buy in even more. And, Coach Cone's, coaching career, he's running the triangle the whole time. And I can tell you, throughout his tenure running the triangle, I promise you, these teams that's played under him, there was pushback where they didn't want to play the triangle. And he had to really get it in them to just trust me, buy in, whether we're winning or losing. So I think the fact that wins a gold, been over 60 years, it's such an easier way for the players to dude, we got to buy in, man. We won a gold with this system.
We win with this.
There is no questioning, We don't know. We buy in right now. This works.
It's going to be interesting times, Jared. Sorry to cut you off. It's going to be interesting times here. Because of the fact that Gilas is actually not done with the qualifiers, even though they've already made it to Saudi Arabia. Right, Mo?
Yeah, so JD, I want to know, you said we're doing really well, and under Coach Tim Cone's coaching, basically, it's a new system, and it's hopefully going to work. How do you think we're going to do moving forward? What is your prediction on how Gilas will do moving forward?
Especially in the Asian Cup. In the Asian Cup.
So I have high expectations for Gilas, extremely high. I said it on Twitter way back that I fully believe we're going to be a top 10 basketball country. And I got some pushback. And this was before we won gold. And I still hold very high beliefs and faith that we can crack that top 10. So coming into the FIBA Asia Cup, like I expect us to win the whole thing.
All right,
Wow,
before we let you go,
love it.
JD, you expect us to win the entire FIBA Asia Cup, but then the big question is that Australia is considered an Asian country in FIBA basketball world. We did play New Zealand, we did beat them. How far are we to taking down on Australia, which is going to be one of the big moving targets, especially when they're at full strength?
Yeah, that is really the barometer that we're trying to figure out on how to beat that team. Great group. Those guys play with each other for a long time. They got great leadership, like a guy like Patty Mills. No matter how old he gets, he still finds himself on the national team just because of the value that he can give on and off the court. So it's going to be, they're well coached. They played a long time with each other. So it's hard, man. It's hard to say. Of course, we're going to, come in there gun smoking. We're confident we'll be prepared, but they are the barometer. So I wouldn't say we're very close. It's a work in progress, but we're definitely moving the needle going forward. That's for sure.
Thank you for joining us this morning and, of course, getting your setup ready for us there, JD. It looks great. Great to see you all the time, and good luck in the season with Barangay Ginebra San Miguel.
Thanks, my guy. Good to see you, buddy. All right, my man. Thanks for having me, everyone. Bye.
Now, Pinoy pride on the U.S. small screen as Filipino nurses take center stage in the popular sitcom St. Denis Medical. That story and more after the break. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Now, this one's for all the Filipino nurses in the U.S., and you most likely know one. All eyes on Pinoy nurse Renee in NBC sitcom St. Denis Medical. In their newest episode, the hospital floor comedy puts the spotlight on the, quote, backbone of the U.S. medical industry, and that's the Pinoy nurses. In a joke, a character in the show even referred to them as the Filipino mafias. Now, the new show is gaining traction online. If you want to get a feel of the show, just imagine if The Office were set in the hospital.
They are together a lot.
Because of the Filipino mafia.
What?
The Filipino mafia?
That's something that they call themselves. We don't just call them that.
Hospitals can feel like high school. There's cliques and hierarchy and mean girls. And I'd say Renee is definitely the Regina George. It's with them.
Uy, Ate Val, magwatcha tayo mamaya, ha?
Hey! I'm not Filipino. He just assumed, and it's kind of nice.
I never realized you put them together because they're Filipino.
No, that's not. No.
Oh, are they not Filipino?
Yeah, no, they are. Just please stop saying that word.
Wait, is that a slur? I've just been going around saying.
It's so funny. I want to watch that show. It is so funny.
And
It's
Nurse
not a
Renee,
slur.
yeah, and Nurse Renee's like the leader of that pack, you know.
Yeah, but then
Like
the
girls.
actor of Nurse Renee again has been really upping Filipino representation. I think Superstore was the other sitcom that he was part of that he really brought out yung pagka-Filipino niya.
I just love him so much. He's my
Absolutely.
favorite. So I can't wait to watch the show. I'm sure you guys will watch it after the show as
Super
well.
funny.
Now we got a new sitcom to watch. But now what used to be a simple hashtag OOTD with a simple mirror selfie now evolved to Get Ready With Me videos. But even these Get Ready With Me videos are getting outrageously creative. Check these Gen Zs out who are putting in the work and the editing chops in their TikToks.
The songs on the radio are okay, but my taste in music is your face.
Yeah, I actually watched the tutorial of how they did that. As we said, click another one. They're getting a lot more creative. Again, not only you need to be on the loop about what to wear, you now have to keep up with how to showcase them with the cool edits.
it's
But as
stressing me
they
out.
say, it's all for the vibe, it's all for the plot. And yeah, I mean, GRWM, it actually does mean something else.
Yes.
Get ready with Mo.
Get ready.
That's the next thing that
That's
we're going
going to
to
be
do.
my next PowerPoint,
Yeah.
GRWM.
But I actually watched the tutorials on how they actually did those videos, and it's actually a bit simple. how they do it. Yeah, there's actually a nice way, a relatively easy way to do it. It just takes a bit of time.
Yeah, because you need to take several takes, do several takes,
No, it's
and
not
then
just
put
that.
them
It's the
together.
editing.
Yeah, the editing.
What I
yes.
mean is the editing is you have to get the clothes out
that's
using
too much
Canva
work.
and then using just different apps. So you have to use 2 or 3 apps to actually make it work. But yeah, I mean, like, kudos to the creative Gen Zs. It actually reminds me of. It reminds me of music videos back in the 2000s.
Actually, with like the fisheye lens and everything.
Yeah.
But as a millennial, I will stick to simple. I will just do a straight through get ready with me. This is too much work. Ain't nobody got time for this.
I'm about the result and not the process sometimes in regards to getting clothes
I
ready.
need to learn how to edit these creative videos.
Watch, Anne's gonna have one.
Yeah, she's gonna have one. She's gonna have one
As
later.
our resident social
Did you
media
notice
person.
this morning I was actually videoing while they were putting makeup on me, and I was like, I'm gonna make a GRW.
But you know what? With regard to all of that, you also need to have the clothes for it.
Yes.
And you might get some soon because it's only 27 days to go till Christmas.
Woo!
That's right, 27. Oh my gosh, time is flying.
Your segues are the best.
Pinalangang oras. Time flies. And of course, that is going to be something to watch out for. We cannot wait to celebrate Christmas with all of you. But that is it for us today, Thursday, November 28th. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Thank you very much for joining us.
I'm Anne Asis-Carilo. Wherever this day brings you, pack your own sunshine and don't forget to spread love and kindness.
And I'm Monique Tuzon. Stay safe, and we hope you have a great Turkey Day. Join us again tomorrow at 7 a.m. only here on
It's a beautiful day.